like I said, outside of the forex aspect, that I do have my reservations. Of course, behind the scene is the other things you're bringing in, which I'm sure they negotiated some. I don't have the details on it of infrastructural exchanges from China to Nigeria, because we do need a lot of help in that area now. But how are you making that exchange? Are you making it properly where you sustain it, not just dumping? You know, there's something you call dumping in technology. You just bring it, but okay, and I make my money. I've given you what you asked for, and you pay me, and I go off. But then you don't sustain it, and it doesn't grow your economy eventually, and you don't maintain it properly. Look at what we're having in the refineries. Over the years since I've been in this country, all we talk about is turn around, turn around. Do you realize the kind of money we've been spending on all those things? And have we gotten what we invested in? My answer is no. It's that kind of scenario, so I wonder.
You know, listening to you, I think there's something that cuts across. First, we had Garbasheo at the start of the week. He was on the program, he spoke to us, and it's almost the same soundbite we're getting from everyone, even himself, saying that they don't have the full details. And if someone in government is saying that, and you, who is also a technocrat, still saying that sometimes we don't even understand it all, we need them to speak up. What do you think we should be getting from the government now? Because we have the Ministry of Trade and Investment, we also have the Finance Ministry. Shouldn't they by now be telling Nigerians what this is all about, breaking it down in bits and pieces so that people can internalize what the visit was about?
You've just taken it out of my mouth. I guess I mentioned it, but you're asking me to expand on it a little bit. Of course, it's what worries me. What worries me is, yes, the president has been making a lot of trips overseas, and those trips are needed, I believe, because, as I said, we're in a global village, and you must interact with other economies that are stronger than us, both in technology and financials, to be able to put it together. But when he comes back, I'm not sure about you, but sitting where I'm sitting, I don't know what they have discussed. You hear the high level, okay, we know they did this swap thing we're talking about, we know they're talking some infrastructure, but we don't get the details. And you begin to wonder what the ministers and portfolios that are following him in some of these things, why are they not explaining it? Because it is in that process that even we as citizens, or sitting back, can input into what they are trying to achieve and maybe yell yes, no, whatever.
Yes, because I said this before, but and I'll say it again. The closest we ever got was the one, the piece done by the Power, Works and Housing Minister, Mr. Fashola. But every other key ministry or people directly involved in deals such as this haven't been able to tell us in clear details what this is about. So for someone like you who has been around, and you still look at it as being vague, and to so many Nigerians they see it as vague, that is why we're saying today is almost 2 weeks now that they've been back. We still don't have all of those details. If you say that currency swap should be something that must be taken out of this, and we're trying to look at what you have been able to do with IBM, what do you think we can do with China in other aspects of key sectors, for instance, in power, as well as in our steel industry?
Well, again, I think I sound like I'm repeating myself, but because of my style and what I believe, so many of the Nigerian problems, we've been talking about the economy and all that, right? If you look at what causes all those problems, predominantly most of them can be managed by technology. So for me, for instance, we've been talking about budget, and you begin to wonder, why is it that there's disparity in the budget? Why is it that the assembly or the house seem to be looking at a different page and the executive is looking at a different page? I know. If given the opportunity that there is a system that makes it that everybody's looking at the same page, and you walk the process, and when you come out with the result that everybody wants. Unlike what we've been seeing, we've been debating. Sometimes they say somebody removed something on this side, on the executive side. The next minute they tell us they removed something. So what I'm still saying is, we need to make some good judgments when we make all these deals with foreign countries. That if you come in here, you have to bring in the technology from the point of view, even if it's infrastructure, on the point of view that is sustainable, not just dumping. I've said that word, dumping. People dump things in Nigeria because we are seen as a nation. You just go make your money and go.
Do you think it's that we can still achieve a lot when the budget is eventually passed?
Well, absolutely we will, of course, because if you notice what's going on now, myself as an entrepreneur, you know, when I stepped down from IBM, I made a decision to come back and continue my struggle. After leading IBM into Nigeria, I went back and resigned 16 years in IBM and came home and set up Net Solutions. That was 15 years ago. So I'm now running my own company as a partner to IBM, and of course I've added other partnerships to other technology companies to be able to deliver my services and solutions to the Nigerians. But having said that, you could see that all year round nothing has happened, even those of us that work even more in the private sector, because the Nigerian economy is such that until the budget is passed, it tends to mean that nothing moves. Not even the banks. I work for a lot of banks. You could see that they are hedging in starting out their own budget. So what that means is that there's a lot of lost time in the economy overall.
You know, yesterday we looked at some of the options also to see how we could diversify the economy, as the government has always advocated, and looking inwards, what do we do? And then Ajaokuta popped up. Today we see comments on the site of the Russian embassy saying, basically they're talking about the fact that the Russian embassy in Nigeria officially confirms that the original builder of the Ajaokuta Steel Complex, the TPE, is ready to re-engage in the process. They then go on to say that they have submitted to the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals in Nigeria in December 2015 and February 2016, and they are ready to send their men to come in here and have a look at Ajaokuta Steel Complex. I know there's been several stories about that complex. What do you think? How should we approach this?
Well, the way to approach it, in my opinion, is not necessarily whether you are inviting the original builders back. Remember, I've mentioned the turnaround on the refineries. We constantly do that. I see that as throwing money into the holes.
The turnaround maintenance?
Yeah, the way we're approaching it. I'm not saying turnaround is wrong. First of all, what is the issue with Ajaokuta Steel? You need to get the experts to look at the process. And those are the things I keep talking about, that there are systems to help us do those things. For instance, you need to analyze what exactly has made Ajaokuta Steel not be a profitable project for Nigeria. Then when you do that analysis, for instance, in IBM and Net Solutions, we have a system called BPMS, which is Business Process Management Solution. It could look at anything you do. Even you at Channel probably need something like that. It look at your process, and it can tell you how you bring that process to a very concise level, and all the pit holes that may be in there. Then you roll it out. So what I'm saying is, yes, do you just go and get the Russians to come back? We do what we've done in the last 30 years on Ajaokuta Steel, and we continue to spend money that we could have used for better things? My answer is no. Let's first of all understand what the issues are with Ajaokuta Steel, and then we roll it out. Am I making sense to you?
But then, at the end of the day, you think that because eventually they have to, the National Assembly and the executive about the budget. So perhaps the sooner and the earlier they do that, the better for us all.
Yeah, I agree with you that the sooner they do it, the better. But I would not miss saying it one more time. Let me give you an example. In 1997, I went to Kingibe, who was the Minister of Interior, and I explained something IBM wanted to do. I was able to convince my company at the time to do what we call a build and operate and transfer with the national ID card, a very comprehensive ID card. All IBM had asked me to do is, can I get Nigeria to legislate that as the law of the land? Everybody must have an identity. Now, what was the logic to that? Nigeria wouldn't have spent 1 naira. But yet we will build this thing, run it for a certain number of time that will be agreed, turn it over to the nation, and the nation makes money and use it to manage the nation. Now you and I agree that up to today, Nigeria doesn't have a national ID. We just have patches and patches.
No, but
the BVN,
NIM.
No. Is it working? Is it comprehensive? Is it legislated?
You
Those are the processes.
don't think it is?
You-
It is not. I'm telling you.
You haven't done yours? You don't have one?
You should.
I have, but it's a piece of card. I am talking about having a national ID that is comprehensive, that becomes you, that will become you, Chamberlain, for the rest of your life, in terms of your record, in terms of managing you, which you sell back to the system. For instance, the security people need ID, the banks need good credit checks. It's not just having a piece of paper or piece of card that you show people and say, this is Dr. Steve Uwazie. What I'm talking about is having a data that makes sense, that even the nation uses in planning. Yeah? Today we're talking about electricity. We're talking about power. I heard Fashola say the other day that he went around to look at all the power structures. You should have a system in place that you could sit in your place as the minister and you can monitor and know what is happening across the country. They exist. What I'm saying is I'm challenging the nation to take technology serious, to stop all these issues, economic issues, corruption issues. That's the way to do it.
All right, Dr. Steve Uwazie is the CEO of Net Solutions. Thank you for your time and your thoughts on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment. Do join us again.